Hello. It's been a little while. So, we had talked a little bit, well, I had talked a little bit last week about kind of growing up in a Christian home. And yes, indeed, I did. And I said that I wanted to speak a little bit more about it this week or when I come back on. And I do. I just wanted to, I don't know, just talk about some things. And one of the things is basically how it is when you grow up in a Christian home. It's good that you're raised that way. It's good that you have family values. It teaches you. I don't want to say what's right from wrong because there's people that don't go to church that know right from wrong and they teach their children that. But with that being said, we went to church like every Sunday. We didn't go on Wednesday night unless we wanted to. We didn't go Sunday nights. We just went Wednesday. And like I said, my father was a head deacon there. It was in a church in Apopka, Florida. And but and then my mom's dad was a deacon. And I don't know if he was a head deacon or not. I don't know who was when all the older people back in the day in the 70s, 60s were there, who was actually the head deacon and not or whatever. But what come along with being a deacon's daughter is a lot of rules and regulations. And one of them being, I remember there was a curfew, and I could not date nobody, could not, but before the curfew was instilled and before I started working, I remember my mom's cousin, his wife, it was her cousin, it was a man. I don't want to give names, but if you see this video, you'll know who I'm talking about, I'm sure. But I heard she was going to have a church sleepover at her house, and it was near Halloween. Instead of the kids going trick or treating, and she was like a teacher for like the teenagers. So I was like 12 or 13 at the time. And I said, "Oh," I said, "Miss or Aunt, I'm not going to say the name. So where exactly are you going to have this sleepover?" And she goes, "Oh, at my house up in this neighborhood in Apopka." It's one of an old. It's not the oldest neighborhood in Apopka, but it's an older place in Apopka. It's probably been there since the late '60s. And I said, "Oh, really? Okay." Now remember, I'm in eighth grade now, and I was between 13 and 14. And so they're like, "We're gonna have a Halloween party," and I just knew a lot of my relatives and friends would be there. But what I didn't tell is a few blocks away was a boyfriend of mine. So I didn't say nothing. I ain't said nothing to this day. Don't ever plan on it. And my dad don't watch YouTube, so we're safe. Unless one of you out there wants to tell him. But anyway, um, let's not do that. Um, but anyway, so I said, "Oh man, this is the chance I've been waiting on." So, you know, girls and their first boyfriends. So at this time, I had liked a boy named Richard, and I had liked a boy named Tony. Now I'm going to go ahead and give the last initials, Richard R and Tony T. And I said, "Well, this is going to be fun." So what I did is I decided, well, I'm gonna enjoy this night. So me and a couple friends, I said, "Hey y'all, guess it." And I'm never let me say this: if you had Mary Bowman as your mother, you walk the line. There's no getting past it, and you surely didn't want the repercussion of it. So I'm thinking, now, how do I do this and not get in trouble? So what I did was, I'm like, if I remember correctly, my aunt and uncle lived in the back of that neighborhood, and Tony T lived, I think, on the same street. Yeah. And then Richard R lived at the very beginning of the neighborhood. So I was like, well, I'm bound to run into one of these. And oh, I can't wait because, oh, that'll be fun seeing them outside of school. Because, when you're 13, 14, you don't really date. I mean, I guess, and these guys didn't skate. So there was no skating with them or anything like that. So I was like, well, this is my one and only chance to see somebody outside of school. So I was like all excited. Well, I don't think I ever seen him that night. I cannot remember to save my life if I seen him or not. But we spent the night, got up the next day, and went home. And I wasn't sure where Tony T lived, but I knew where Richard R lived. And he lived a house over from some of my best friends. And Beth and Jimmy, they were twins. I'm not going to say their last name, but it starts with a F. And so, anyway, so I had a lot of friends in this neighborhood. So I was so excited, because my parents, again, they were very, very strict. But, and that's what I was going to lead up to with, the kids today. Chores. We had 3 bathrooms, and we had a family room, and we had a living room and a kitchen and a formal dining. We had all that. Well, my mother was OCD. I didn't know the initials for it. I didn't know there was such thing back then. I thought she was crazy because every day, same age, 12, 13, 14, and 15, I'd come home, and every bathroom had to be scrubbed like the housekeeper was there. The dishes that I never even ate from in the morning had to be cleaned. Where were these bratty brothers of mine? What the heck were they doing? Oh, that's right. They're watching cartoons. They did the lawn and they did the garbage. What is that? Once a week? Well, anyway, so everything had to be swept, vacuum, mop, that whole house, and those 3 bathrooms had to be clean. Now, I didn't have to dust or any of that. And then the kitchen had to be tidied up. Well, what I didn't know is I had OCD too. And I still have it. If you ask me if I won the lottery, what I would want, a housekeeper, because I want everything immaculate. And I know that you can't have it that way and live. I've gotten a little better about it, but I do drive Sean nuts with that. So about chores, my mom would say, and I think of my bonus daughter, Sean's daughter, when I talk about this. She'll tell me how people will say, I'm bored, my granddaughters. But one, not so much. The little one, she finds something to do. But as they get older, they're going to get bored. They're going to say they're bored. Like I said, oh, I made that mistake one time. No more. Just one time. I never said it again. Because those bathrooms I just cleaned, she'll put your ass back to work. She'll be putting you back on the same thing. You won't be bored no more. I'll find you something to do. I'm good. I was never bored again. I guarantee you. But you have to have the umph. And this day and age, people don't want spankings. They don't want you to get onto their children. They don't want to get onto their own children. They want to be the best friend with their kids. You know what? I was never my mom's best friend. She was never mine. She told me when I was up in years like 17, 18, oh, I'll be the best friend you ever had. Well, no, you won't. No, you won't, because you don't understand me. I'll be the best friend you'll ever have. Nah. Well, something traumatic happened in my life, and I went to my mom, and I was I was a little older. I was probably, I don't know, probably 30s, maybe, yeah, probably 30s, late 30s. And I went to my mom, and I had never really went to my mom much. I went to her when I found out I was pregnant with Christopher. And, we had a long talk about that. Um, but she was my best friend, looking back. She wasn't my best friend growing up. Nope. She was not my best friend growing up. She was my mother. My mother died in 2007, so I don't have a mother. I have Sean's mom, and she's a great bonus mom. But come to find out, she was my best friend because she took that to her grave with her. What I had to talk to her about, and these parents nowadays, and you may be one of them. Sorry to offend, but you can't be a best friend and be a mom. You're either a best friend or you're a mom. Because if you're a best friend, you're looking to have a good time. If you're a mom, you're looking to take care of your child and make sure they're safe. And us best friends don't always do that. We just in it for the fun. So that's another thing I want to talk about. So I'm going to stop there because I don't want to keep going and going and going, but when your children say that they're bored, give them that old stink eye my mom gave me. And let me tell you, put them on a chore and and ride their butt. Make them do it, even if it's not the way you would have them to do it. Because nobody's going to do it like we are, because you know that. But when you monopolize their time and their energy for a good 30 minutes, they're not going to come back and say they're bored ever again. So, I had some other things I want to talk about, but I kind of got a little long winded on that. So I don't want to keep you guys any longer. But like and share my video if you like it, share it. If you don't like it, don't share it. Um, but I'm coming at an angle where there's going to be some topics that aren't aren't real popular. They're popular, but it's not going to be the popular. I'm not going to get the popular vote, I'm sure. On some, and some I might. So keep tuning in to Talking with Tam Tam. And you know, I'm on Facebook, Tammy Bowman hyphen Rice, BOWMAN hyphen RICE, and Tammy is TAMMY. So until next time, be safe. Tell somebody you love them.